It's a pretty common occurrence to just get flamed while playing this game. I think we can all relate. While oftentimes it's completely ridiculous, sometimes you have to wonder, do they actually have a point? While this gold ADC who's berating me the entire game would probably feel pretty stupid when he finds out I'm a challenger player, being a higher rank doesn't automatically make me right, so I still need to at least consider if it was baseless or not. However, my jungler probably got convinced that I actually was terrible from all my ADC's typing and just completely ditched me, refusing to give me a Braum jump. Am I being completely griefed here? 110% yes. It's important to be able to look at situations objectively and determine if Flame should just be discarded or if you can actually learn something from it. It can avoid a lot of frustration just to know that your teammates might be venting and it's really not your fault. And if Volley had been paying attention to the game at all, and not just the chat, he probably doesn't int me and we could have turned the fight. The point is that you can't let yourself be convinced from just things in chat, and instead, you need to learn how to form your own opinions about how you and others are playing. Today we're going to be testing your intuition and presenting support gameplay. It's your job to figure out if the support deserves blame or not in these situations. Buckle up and let's get right into it. Let's start out with that Braum game we got to see snippets of before, and see what my bossy ADC has to say. The wave is slow pushing back to us, and Ashe is up 2 levels. On the flip side, she's down a pretty significant amount of health, and probably needs to recall to spend gold and heal up. After clearing out a pink and coming back into lane, I notice that Ashe isn't showing at all. Once Alistar shows in the lane, I walk up very aggressively past the enemy minions and even spam dance a bit for fun. My AD clearly doesn't like that and gives me a missing ping and tells me to stay near them. So the real question is this completely baseless and should I ignore it, or is there some value to the statement? It's never a good idea to completely write off opinions, so the best we can do is just go through reasons why someone might have the belief that they do. Zeri might be concerned about a few things. Ashe might not have finished her recall and Lee Sin and her could blast gun over the wall while Alistar engages on me and I'd probably die. Or she might just not want me to do anything insane like fighting Alistar while tanking a million ranged minions. Both are definitely valid concerns, but let's go into why they don't apply here and also why moving up past the wave is so good right now. Because his mid laner died, Lee Sin is heavily incentivized to show mid and catch the wave. If he doesn't, not only does he miss out on valuable gold and XP, he also donates over tons of plate gold to our team in the process. Even before I see him on map here, I know that if he comes bottom, we are trading more valuable things across the map. And it's not even guaranteed that I die, even if he does come. To address the second point, of course Zeri can't know what I want to do. But as long as I space well, Alistar should never be able to be in range to engage on me, at least not without flash. I'm not trying to fight here, I just want one goal. My only focus is to zone Alistar off of experience range. For supports, experience is by far the most important resource. A level 6 Alistar versus a level 5 Alistar is a massive difference. He literally becomes twice as tanky and can actually act as a frontline. If he doesn't have ult, he pretty much gets blown up due to not having the same sort of gold income that a traditional tank might have, say in top lane or jungle. I'm aware of this and trying to make an aggressive play. If I can stop Alistar from getting level 6, there will be a window for us to engage and win the fight easily. The less experience he gets, the larger that window will be, and the simpler my punish. Even though standing in front of the wave might seem relatively minor, it actually set me up for a fight later on, where Alistar is not level 6, and Zeri can actually survive this fight because of it. Shortly after, we push in the wave to tower, and I immediately start to channel my recall. My baby of an ADC decides to not only blame me for helping shove the wave, he also wants me to stay and hit the tower. So once again, we have to ask, is there value in their complaints? To the point of messing up last hits by autoing as much as possible, yes, Zeri might miss out on a bit of gold from me trying to push the wave. However, the idea is that if the wave doesn't crash, we're forced to recall at a bad timer. We'll miss way more gold than Zeri could possibly miss from my autos messing up her farm. And we'll be denied farm in the future as our opponents could potentially freeze here for a really long time. Because of this, I simply do not value Zeri missing maybe 60-ish gold worth of CS if I can guarantee that the wave crashes, because we simply just get much more value out of it. For these reasons, this complaint is definitely baseless. For the second point, we have to compare what hitting the tower actually gives us to what a recall gives us. If we stay in hit tower, we can potentially get plates, and an influx of gold immediately. At most, 2 plates is probably optimistic because we killed the enemy bot lane about 30 seconds ago, and they should be back very soon. If I stay, we would split that gold 2 ways, so each one of us would get 160 gold. This all sounds well and good, but we're really not considering the main downside of all of this, which is the time that it takes to actually do it. By hitting tower, we're delaying our recall, and even though we just won the fight bottom, we haven't actually spent any of that gold. So when Ashe and Alistar get back, we will be significantly weaker than them since they're coming fresh off of a bye. Knowing that hitting tower is a definite overstay, I ignore her advice and recall anyways. To no one's surprise, she dies getting run down by Alistar, but at the very least, denying him XP means he's still level 5, so we get a return kill. Alright, so it was probably a bit easier to guess if these complaints were valid or not, since my AD was clearly just looking for things to whine about. So let's transition to a game where I'm not the one playing. We're following along with a Soraka Xayah into a Miss Fortune Lulu matchup. Watch carefully and try to identify what would help this lane go better for the blue team. We'll be breaking it down in detail for you after, so you can see if you are right. As we first get into lane, the enemy Lulu starts playing hyper aggressively, walking up super far and attempting to get damage on Soraka. Fortunately, with Soraka's superior regen and Lulu's poor positioning, we end up coming out on the winning side of the trade. With this big advantage, let's pause here and give you some extra time to look at this scenario carefully. This is a very critical moment of the lane, so take note of everyone's health, mana, the wave, and think about what you would do next. We'll revisit in a bit. Continuing on, Soraka fishes for a bit of poke onto Lulu to get her even lower, and ultimately ends up backing up to her range minions after missing her Q. Feeling like she can't pressure more, she retreats as Lulu approaches. Unfortunately, the enemy lane hits level 2 first, and Lulu manages to chunk Xayah out to a very unplayable level of health. It would be fairly easy to make the claim that the lane is totally doomed from this position, and say that the red side has a huge advantage. So at this point, if Xayah starts furiously typing away and tells Soraka that she needed to play more aggro so they didn't get level 2 all in, and Soraka responds by saying that Xayah was playing too aggressively, who would you agree with? The real answer is that they're both kind of correct. If we watch back the early part of the lane, there are times where both Soraka could have done more and Xayah could have done less. While the enemy team does have a wave advantage due to having more minions, it came at the cost of Lulu's health. At this point, it might be possible for Soraka to begin walking up to the wave and spamming autos and Qs in order to try and reclaim wave control, just because of the sheer difference in her and Lulu's resources. If they work together to push the wave, getting level 2 first is a real possibility, and the lane might have played out in an opposite manner. Lulu would likely be unable to contest because she's in range of getting all in. However, Soraka failed to recognize the state of advantage that she actually had, and didn't really attempt to use it. While it's bad to miss out on punishing enemy mistakes, it's not totally damning to the lane. The wave advantage for the red team should be very obvious here. They have an extra melee minion at full HP. And because only the 3 melee minions need to die for the red team to get level 2, there is no real way for the blue team to contest at this point. While Xayah did have a point that Soraka should have helped potentially contest for the level, there becomes a time where you can't blame her anymore. As Xayah, what would you do from this position? Xayah needs to recognize that the dream of hitting level 2 first is dead, and just retreat. While you ideally always want to be in an advantage, it's just not possible, and it's important to realize that you can conserve resources and use them for later. If she had retreated here instead and just waited for the wave to hit tower, they could equalize the level lead, and Soraka would be able to heal her up with W. Their superior sustain means that damage on Lulu would stick, while damage on Xayah would be relatively meaningless. The complaints about both players' gameplay is fair criticism in this case, but neither one is fully to blame. My main point is that there is not a singular way to win a game, and sometimes people flame because they might be only approaching the game with one win condition in mind. In this case, Xayah had a point, but her getting chunked out from a level 2 all-in is not Soraka's fault. She could have recognized that Soraka didn't want to play for the level 2, and change her game plan to adapt accordingly. Lots of times, there's half truth within flame or complaints, and sometimes no truth at all. But trying to understand where people are coming from can help you become a better player and avoid playing Type Racer instead of League of Legends. It can be very difficult to view teammates typing as constructive, and sometimes you shouldn't at all. Realistically, muting is a fine strategy that we definitely encourage sometimes, but cutting off communication from your team can cause you to miss out on game plans and summoner spell timings. There's definitely pros and cons to playing with chat off though. If you can wade through the baseless accusations while still remaining unbiased and realize that sometimes your teammates might have a point, you have to at least go out of your way to rationalize your own thinking, and that can only be a good thing.
Now, what you find here on YouTube is just the tip of the iceberg. If you want to unlock your true potential, then you need to dive into skillcap.com. We have the largest catalog of League of Legends guides in the entire world, with over 1,500 guides and 350 unique courses. You get brand new guides every week exclusive to our website, along with our Smurf commentaries where our challenger experts walk you through how to carry out of the exact rank you're stuck in. Still unsure? Well, you can have all your questions answered by those same challenger experts. Need one-on-one coaching? We got you covered with hand-picked coaches trained to the highest standard. Don't have time for that? Use Direct Pro, pick a past game you played, and within 24 hours get a personalized video from a top 100 challenger player breaking down exactly what you can do better. The best part, all of this comes with a rank improvement guarantee. If you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using SkillCap, you can claim a refund, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Head to skillcap.com and get the rank you've always wanted. Link in the description below.
Until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.